Okay, I believe we are ready to go. I call this meeting to order. It's 9:35. If you could please stand with me and say the Pledge of Allegiance, if you're able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Secretary Thomas will read the video disclaimer and roll call.
Can you hear me out there?
No.
Hello? Hello. Okay. This general session is being filmed and posted on the member portal of the First Service Connect website. If you speak during homeowner comments, your image and comments will be included in the filming. Private audio and video recording are prohibited. Please silence all cell phones. Okay, roll call. Board, Lisa, Director Lisa.
Here.
Director Kurt.
Here.
Director Lynn.
Here.
Director Roxanne.
Here.
And I'm here. First Service Residential Staff. General Manager Michael Flores.
Present.
Fernando.
Not here.
Not here. Okay. And Julia.
I'm here. Okay, announcement. The goal of the board is to become solution-based, keep the community informed. We recently discovered, according to David Sterling, inspection during meetings of the board packet reads as, members who attend board meetings sometimes request a copy of the board packet so they can follow along during the meeting. The Open Meeting Act gives owners the right to attend open meetings and a copy of the meeting agenda, but not a copy of the board packets. A board packet is not a record, nor is it subject to inspection under the David Sterling Act. It is instead a collection of records that frequently contain confidential material such as delinquencies, member correspondence, etc. From this point on, for the general session meeting, members will only receive the agenda, the management report, and the financials, including bank statements. And if you would like a complete packet, you may place a request after the board meeting at the business office.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Lisa seconds it. All in favor? That's unanimous. And Secretary Thomas will read the executive session disclosure.
An executive session meeting was held on June 24, 2024, where the Board of Directors discussed some or all of the items related to the following: litigation or potential litigation, matters relating to the formation of contracts with third parties, member discipline, member delinquency, including payment plan requests, personnel matters, and/or approval of executive session minutes.
Thank you. Next, we'll approve the minutes. Are there any additions or corrections that anybody noticed? Okay, on page 5, there, page 5, there's a duplicate of what is on letter D. So that needs to be taken out. Okay. With that, I'd like to make a motion to approve the amended minutes. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay, Lynn is seconding it. And all in favor, or is there discussion? Okay, all in favor? That's unanimous, I think.
Yes, I
Good, okay.
I'd like to make note, Mike, these were the minutes that were written by the secretary. In the original packet, he provided minutes that were written by First Service, and those were inaccurate. So those need to be disposed of and these put in their place.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move into reports. The first one is President's Report. That's page 7 in your packet. Not only is June gloom finally gone, but I'm happy to report that on June 8th, we had a very successful town hall meeting. How do I define success? First of all, we ran out of chairs and cookies. Even more importantly to the board, homeowners came with good questions and great ideas. We have incorporated these suggestions into our strategic plan. We so appreciate all of you who came and participated. On June 12th, Keystone, our new management company, was on site to interface with us on our IT and staffing needs. Board members Kurt and Lisa met with the IT specialists to discuss where Keystone software begins and ends. Homeowners can soon expect a survey. We want to hear from you on what your IT needs are as we move forward. We are looking forward to a demonstration of what the Keystone system is capable of later this week. VP Kathleen and I met with the HR specialist to discuss our current staff's responsibilities and areas that we feel need a new direction. The position of general manager has been posted, but all other new staffing needs will be on hold until the GM is in place. We hope you have the opportunity to enjoy the other special June events: the Harmony Ringers, Pride by the Pool, Summer Solstice Drumming Circle, the OCA movie, Tuesdays with Maury. This Saturday, 4 to 6 p.m., there is an event you do not want to miss, the Garden Club Gala. Be there. Last year's garden party was a big hit. A big thank you to all of the volunteers who put on these events and to you homeowners who come and show your appreciation. Okay, the Secretary's report.
Last month, the board informed the community in August Keystone Pacific will become OCA's community management company. We are in the beginning process of the transition. Keystone Pacific transition team, in collaboration with the board, is working on standard document requests from First Service Residential, onboarding process with Keystone Pacific Human Resources. Keystone Pacific conducted a site visit. They also conducted an IT audit to assess needs for the office, met with the board president and vice president to review staffing needs. Keystone Pacific will hold a demonstration of the sync systems and HOA management software program, conduct a website evaluation, and will review the Internet Cox communication contract. Keystone Pacific and the board are working behind the scenes, so on August 1st, we are up and running to keep this thriving community moving forward. That is one of the benefits of living in Oceana, is being able to play a role in improving and maintaining the quality of life for all residents. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? A few years ago, I attended a board meeting and spoke during the homeowner comments. I performed my rendition of the theme, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I introduced myself to the community. I mentioned I have a wife. We just celebrated our 33rd anniversary as a couple. Last weekend, I attended the second annual Pride at the Pool event. The pool complex was full of a beautiful rainbow of people there to celebrate Pride Month. It was inspired by the 1969 Stonewall riots a gay liberation protest. It celebrates the LGBTQI plus freedom. Ooh,
Bad girl.
yes, and it is on silent. Please forgive me for that. It was a gay liberation protest. It celebrates the LGBTQAI freedom to live in their true essence. We marched and protested in the streets, gave testimonies in courtrooms, and some lost their lives to command the honor, respect, and dignity that we deserve as human beings. Last week, it was brought to my attention by Gail Olenek of a hateful act. She placed a pride flag in the hands of the beautiful black mermaid statue located in the Friendship Garden. It was removed 3 times. Gail replaced the flag 3 times. In one incident, the pride flag was replaced by an American flag. In addition, someone removed and stole the sign advertising the 2nd annual Pride at the pool event. The next day was Juneteenth. I placed a Juneteenth garden flag just outside my front and back doors. The thought came across my mind, will someone come along and remove my Juneteenth garden flag? I said to myself, something has to be done about this. We, the board, cannot allow this to take place in this community. I am a director of the board. I am in a position to do something about it. To those out there, I want to let you know, hate has no home here in Oceana. I am black. I am a lesbian. I am married to a white woman. I am a 100% disabled veteran. I stutter. I am a Christian. I am a valued member of this community. I matter. To the residents in this community, on behalf of the LGBTQI plus residents, we want to say thank you for freely honoring us, respecting us, loving us, and for working with us to make this an inclusive community in which all people, all families, all cultures, all ethnicities are valued. Unknowingly, you've become a part of the No Hate Has No Home Here movement. Thank you for making Oceana a community for all. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Would you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor?
Thank you. Now we will do the Treasurer's Report. Man, tough act to follow. Do you have a song?
My gift to you is that I do not sing. The Treasurer's Report for this month, we continue in a positive, both in our operating and our reserves. We also continue to have needed corrections to our records. The $84,000 that is in January and still needs to be moved to the prior year is still pending, as our audit and our tax return, which we submitted in March and still have not received anything at all from the CPA. My first service has that, and that should have been wrapped up a long time ago. Will you get an end to date on that for us? And Roxanne, if that's not going to be done within the next week or two or within the month of July, I'd like to recommend that you and I make a meeting and go down there and meet them. You and I from Oceana and they.
I have it down.
Okay. Yeah, just about. I mean, I think activities is doing really well still. I do have some more under the financial reports, but in terms of my report, we're moving along smoothly.
Okay, great, thank you. We will now go into our homeowner forum. Some of you have turned in little papers to speak, and Mike, were there any other papers back there? Okay. The first one was Gail Olnick. If you'd like to come up. After Gail, we will have Steve Milligan.
Okay. No, Kurt's doing it on his phone.
Okay, Kurt's going to be timing 3 minutes.
I'll be less than 3 minutes, no worries.
Good morning. Thank you for providing homeowners with the opportunity to share their concerns. As previously reported, a pride flag was taken from the mermaid's hand several times, as well as a Pride by the Pool flyer that was removed from the clubhouse. As a proactive person, I replaced the flags and flyer. I submitted an e-blast to the community, advising them of these two occurrences. I spoke with many who shared how upset they were that something so hateful occurred. Yes, hateful. This was yet another example of hate, discrimination, and disrespect. And this is not the first time that this has occurred. I am personally reaching out to the persons that committed such a heinous act. Why? What have I done to you? And to the board of directors and the management company, I ask, what will be done about this? This cannot continue to happen. I am personally insulted and extremely hurt, and so is the LGBTQIA community here at Oceana. And one better, so are many of the residents that reside here. We spent so much money on litigation, landscaping, improving the infrastructure. Here's a thought. Why not discuss the installation of video surveillance? Are you aware that tables, chairs, umbrellas from the pool have disappeared? The homeless bathe in our hot tub. Children enter the spa. Last year's board said they would place a sign by the spa. What happened to that idea? We live in a 55-plus community that is not gated, and perhaps you will consider my suggestion. Acts such as the ones I mentioned are unacceptable, and I'm fairly certain they will continue if we continue to enable them. To an end, I am asking the person that removed my flags that I paid for and the flyer to apologize. You offended me. You hurt me, and you hurt so many others. I'm a fairly visible woman in the community. My phone number and email are easily accessible. I await your apology as I wait for the board and the management company to take action.
Thank you, Gail. Steve, and after Steve is Larry Bungay, sorry.
It was on.
Did Mike? Yeah, okay. Hello. Good morning. Thanks for letting me speak today. I travel quite a bit and own a home here, but also own homes elsewhere, and that's why I'm elsewhere. And I've found it a bit difficult sometimes to get information when I'm not physically in this community. And so I'll just put that out to the board that, in terms of, I understand there's some things that you wish to keep secret. I would also suggest that you lean towards the side of disclosure rather than secrecy, unless there's something that's covered by statute in California. But my main topic today, I am a CPA and I am able to practice in California with my license. And I've noticed a couple things on the financials. One, because of the difficulty getting follow-up, I'm not sure what the status of the 2023 financials are. Were they ever finalized? And I'm sure that most of this is completely unintentional, but it's a little bit technical, that things come out in like the hilltop highlights and in the minutes of the meetings, and they seem to be, well, they're a little bit confusing. And I'll give you some examples. In today's packet, there's financials, but there's no notes to the financials. So someone like myself reading the financial, I guess, just has to draw their own conclusions about what's going on. There are a couple of things. There's a reference to an ongoing audit, but you say you're making changes based on, or the auditor is making changes to the books. Okay, well, I'm going to finish what I have to say. So I would request that you publish either the complete engagement letter with the auditor, where it describes how they're remaining independent, because an auditor cannot perform management functions. So if you would either publish the engagement letter, even if it's partially redacted, or the auditor's assessment of their independence. And the last thing I'll say is, I brought this up before, that there's no contingent liability listed in these financials for all of the legal stuff. And accounting practice requires that there's a 50-50 chance of a bad outcome, that you accrue what you would estimate the financial impact to be. And I don't see that in the financials. So
You're at 3 minutes.
Thank you. Okay, the next was Larry, and following Larry will be Charlie Wendt.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Now my time begins. In addition to that lovely rendition of the neighborhood, we enjoy a lot of sun in San Diego here. However, every time we come into this meeting hall, the shades are completely down, which is confusing to me because I think we like to see the outdoors and all. I also notice that on coffee hours, Charlie is always going around and closing the shades if they've been up. And part of the reason is because there is a lot of bright sunshine, it shines in. So I'm reiterating something I brought to the board maybe a year and a half ago or something like that, that I would like to see us on the bottom third of the window. In other words, up to here, that we have sunscreen installed. It also would be valuable to pickleball players because they're always constantly raising and lowering the shades to try and get light on the court to play, but also not to have the light interfere with them as they're playing. And in line with that, we have some lovely windows up here, which have been blacked over. And I don't understand that because evidently this building was designed to have light in it, but we don't. We have blackness. Well, now that we have electric solar, we can have automatic blinds up there, vertical blinds, so that we can have light come in and block any sunlight that might be coming in just by how you turn the vanes of the windows. So that's another suggestion I would like to make to the board. And in line with being my neighbor, I'd like to make one other further suggestion. And that is that we have, it's a good 45 feet or more between the first row and you people up here in front. Actually, probably much more than that. And it seems like we're kind of, everyone's sitting back there and you're up here and there's no community. I'd like to suggest a couple things. One, that the chairs be put at angles. I have a little diagram if you'd like to see it. I'd also like to see this table that the videographer is on brought forward, and so we can get closer pictures of people as they're talking. You have 30 seconds.
And I think, what?
30 seconds.
And that way I think we will have invite a more friendly community with the V-shaped chairs. Did you want to see this or?
Your time's up. A chevron setup, I understand what you're saying.
Charlie's next.
Hi, Charlie Wynn, and I've got a couple comments. One of them is that I don't understand, the reasoning behind the packets where you're only going to provide certain pieces of this bringing to the meeting here, but if we want a full packet, we can ask for that. It's not congruent for me that we can get it, but we have to request it. It just seems like it didn't seem right. The other thing is we've got a very good video equipment here, and when you're going through stuff on stuff during the meetings, it would be nice to have that up here because our packets are very little, and you're going to page 7 and nobody's got page 7. It'd be nice if you could project that up there so that other folks can see it.
Thank you, Charlie. Ellen, Marciel, you're next, and after that, Brenda Hartman.
Hi, I'm Ellen Marciel, Unit 7. Like Charlie, I'm confused by this new opinion regarding Davis Sterling and not allowing the residents to see the packets of the agenda, the open session general meetings of the Board of Directors. There should not be anything confidential on your open meeting agenda. All of your confidential actions should be handled at executive session. And yes, the residents have no right to see anything that you discuss in executive session. So nothing that we hear about today should be confidential, and everything we hear today should be available to us for the asking, and just as we always have. I don't know why all of a sudden the opinion on Davis Sterling is that it prohibits us from providing agenda packets. I'm just blown away by that. So anyway, and I guess along with that, it seems like our meetings are very, very short. So I'm assuming you're doing everything in executive session, and of course that's your right as your board, as the board as it sits today, to do whatever you deem appropriate in executive session. But I guess I would encourage as much as you can to make decisions, make motions in the general session, in the open meeting general session, for all the residents to be able to witness live or via Zoom firsthand, and get the backup correspondence accordingly. Thanks.
Thank you, Ellen, and Brenda.
Hello. I'm a fairly new resident. I purchased and closed escrow May of last year, and it's a lovely community, but I have questions and concerns about the transitioning and the change of what I know in the short time I've lived here. I believe this will be the third change of management. When I first moved in, I believed it was the HOA was maybe self-managed, and then we had to switch to First Service. And when you're a senior citizen and you don't use a computer much, and you're trying to set up these automatic payments, and now, lo and behold, we're finding out we're switching a third time. And I closed escrow May 17th. My concerns are, number one, continuity and familiarity are important to me as a resident, and I think other residents, especially people that have been here a long time. And to see these changes, I would feel much more comfortable if, when these changes are made, that the whole prior staff of the association is not eliminated and then we keep getting new people. I think it would, I don't know what the plan is, but if the transition, should include keeping the prior staff till the new transition is done, and so that people feel comfortable with what's going on. Not only to mention, when I purchased, this is the first time to have such beautiful amenities and facilities for us to use. I was curious about the HOAs, and how frequently do they go up? Oh, I was told offhandedly, if they go up, it's only a few dollars a year. Well, 12% from 534, Oh, from 538 to 604 a month is a 12% increase. For people on fixed income, you know, that's a little much. And now, with the next change of management, I'm curious, come January 1st, if we're going to incur another hefty increase. So that's all. You know, I think the management team has a tough job because it is such a large community and a lovely community. But I would like to see that the transition includes some of the staff and that we feel comfortable and that it's not just changing for money-saving reasons or whatever. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Brenda, and welcome to our neighborhood. I have one more homeowner comment that was emailed to me, so I'll be reading that. It's rather lengthy, so if you want to time it, Kurt, go right ahead. Okay. Dear, I should tell you who it's from. This is from Sevilla Amoruso, Unit 2, number 40. Dear board members and staff and management, I have been a part of this community for 7 years and appreciate how diverse we are politically, spiritually, and in other ways. I know that we need to respect all of our differences and try to come together unified so we can all get along peacefully. I am a veteran too, and June 14th was Flag Day also. Juneteenth, and in your friendship garden here by the pool, I noticed a beautiful statue of a black woman holding the pride flag for June being Pride Month. I thought, how nice. We have a friendship garden here, and I wanted to put the U.S. American flag in the friendship garden too for Flag Day. On Father's Day, I placed it here to honor my deceased father from World War II and for being a veteran and for all the veterans here in our community. I did not remove the pride flag, but placed our flag in some garden which was sadly removed today. Pride in this community should not be just for one group, LGBTQIA, but for all of us, veterans too, Christians, etc. Pride by the pool should be pride for all the veterans with diverse beliefs, not just for one group in our community. Please stop dividing us more in this community by celebrating strongly just one group. By all means, I respect the statue and did not remove the pride flag. Please do not remove our American flag from the Friendship Garden because it offends one group. Thank you. That's that. Okay. We are done with the homeowner forum, and we are going to financial report by Lynn. That starts on page 13.
There are two financial reports. One is for April. It wasn't in the packet last month, so we couldn't approve it. It is here. I noticed on the horizontal pages, Mike, that account numbers are cut off on the 12-month statements, so we need to watch that for next month so we can refer to account numbers. But the April financials, we would have approved last month if we'd had them to see them. So I make a motion we approve those pending the noted corrections.
Okay. Are you making that motion?
I'm making that motion.
Okay. I'll second it. Any discussion on the April financials? Okay, then I call for the vote. All those in favor of accepting the April financials? Okay, yes, that was unanimous. And did you want to go on to the May financials then?
Yes, the May financials are here. There's some unanswered questions that was brought up in the Finance Committee meeting, and I still do not have answers. We don't have electricity or gas listed at all, and the answer that I got initially from First Service was that it was because there was a credit balance for that month, and they can't post credit balances, which makes absolutely no sense. If we have a credit balance for a month, it would certainly affect our year-to-date. So until that is explained and determined, and also I think until we get an update on the taxes and audit, I am not going to propose that these be approved until we have that information. If somebody else wants to, I think that there's more that needs to be done for these.
Okay. There's also on page 23 a motion. Lynn, did you want to discuss that?
Yes. Last month, we approved seeking a grant for funding for new timers, and we approved $3,700 in labor to have those timers put in. Since then, it's been determined that we need an additional $17,000 that was not included in that bid in order to accomplish the installation of those parts. Fortunate that the funding was approved. We did receive the grant money of $55,000 in order to install those. In addition to the $3,700 that we approved, we need an additional $1,850 to remove the old timer brackets at 36 locations, $4,804 for parts and materials for the mountings and electrical wiring, and $10,175 for labor for the electrician to actually hardwire the irrigation timers. So it will be an additional $16,829.82, making it a total of $20,700. I would personally, as treasurer, I would have appreciated having this full amount at the time when this went through, and I think that it probably still would have been approved, but we can't go back and keep adding to something that's already partway through. I mean, the bus has left the station on this one, so we sort of, I'm making the motion, but I would like to, just point out that in the future we need full numbers. So I make a motion that we approve this so that we can accept the grant money and complete the project.
Do I have a second?
Second.
That was Evelyn. Okay, is there any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, Kurt, let's start with you.
The reason for these timers and the reason to make this change is water conservation. We spend, well, let's do a little trivia here. Anybody know how much we spend a month in water?
20,000.
20,000. More. Anyone else? Peter?
We spend 800,000 a year.
800,000 a year. It's a big number. 40,000 a month is pretty typical. When we talked about the savings in water, it was estimated to maybe be 10% at a conservative level. So we're hoping that we find the savings in the water to be able to pay for this. So I support this. It's something long overdue. Yeah, it is a little bit of an expense right now, but I think in the long run it's going to save us a lot of money.
Okay, first I want to say thank you to Total Landscaping Creations for bringing this grant opportunity to OCA's attention and working with the landscaping committee to make this happen. Fernando informed the board informed us recently that it's required for us to hire an electrician to hardwire the irrigation timers, and we have a time frame to complete that, because if we don't complete it within that 60-day time frame, we will lose the opportunity for this grant. So, and I wanted to point that out. And I also wanted to make note, because I know there are a lot of residents concerned, because we have a problem currently with residents tampering with the timers. And we just want to reassure those residents that the new timers that we will use have lock boxes on them, so there will not allow anyone to tamper with them in the future. And I do support the motion.
Okay, is there anybody else?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this. Lisa Baggett. I feel like this is a bait and switch. I'm going to call it as it is. We were given numbers at this very last board meeting by Total, which I'm very happy with what they've done today. However, to give us a number of installation and total cost, which now ends up being somewhere between $17,000 and $22,000, different from what we were quoted, is an atrocity. I'll call it as it is. That's how I see it. That's our money. We were not quoted the actual numbers. and everything proceeded, and then only after we approved the prior numbers did we go forward, and then we had this bait and switch. I want this to go on the record. Should this happen again, there should be severe repercussions for any vendor pulling a bait and switch on us. Just for the record, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Any other comments before we take a vote on this? Okay. The motion was, do you want to read it back to us, Evelyn, or should I read it from the?
To authorize the
To authorize the transfer of...
No, that's the second one, no.
The top, sorry.
I'm sorry. Oh, a motion to approve an additional $17,000 for parts and labor to install the 36 new timers that were approved last month with corrections.
Okay, all those in favor? 4 against? Lisa's against, so 4-1, and the motion does pass. There was another motion.
Yeah, I have it.
Lynn, you want to go ahead with that?
I have a second motion here related to the same thing. I anticipate that the completion of this work is going to be right about the time that we are transitioning, or right in the middle of a transition from one management company to another. I would like to a motion to authorize our transferring the full $20,700 that we will be paying from the reserve market rate account at US Bank that we have full control over into our reserve checking account at US Bank, which we also have full control over, so that the invoices on this can be paid and expedited when it work's done, instead of in limbo between two management companies. It's still it makes the same difference to our bottom line. It's just a matter of which account it's paid out of. And in order for us to pay it locally ourselves, that amount needs to be authorized by the board.
Okay, do I have a second on this motion?
Second.
Kurt's seconding it, and any more discussion on it? Okay, no discussion, then we'll go ahead and take the vote. All those in favor of authorizing the transition of the $20,700 from the reserve market rate account at US Bank to the reserve checking account at US Bank to cover these costs for this project during this transition, please raise your hand if you're in favor. Okay, there's 4 and against. Lisa's against. Okay, thank you. The motion passes. Okay, the next on the agenda is the management report from Mike Flores, and that's on page 26.
Thank you, Madam President. General Manager report. In regards to the bumps or the sidewalks that we are trying to get the city to install, we call the maintenance for the site list. We call the maintenance and operations divisions of Oceanside regarding to see how the sidewalk curbs can be replaced with either grooves or bumps in order to aid the site list or to be placed on the city's list for a replacement. And that is in process with the city at this time, and we will have an update for the board once we receive a response. Secondary, Total Landscaping has begun to conduct its third pass within the community. Homeowner feedback has become more positive, and we continue to bolster confidence within the community. Lastly, support staff's collective efforts continue towards streamlining internal processes and procedures in order to provide much needed consistency in supporting the community's ability to thrive. Thank you.
I just had a question on the first, on the sidewalks. Do you have a time frame in mind when to get back to them if you haven't heard anything?
I'm going to pass the mic to Ms. Julia. She's been in contact with the city first.
I was able to get a hold of Victor Velasco, and he and I spoke on the phone. I'm going to send him a map of the streets that you want adjusted. And then he said he'll let me know which roads would be taken care of by the city or which would be considered private. And from there, he said we would go on, and he said there's a list you have to get on, and they have a certain amount of money every year. And he's gonna basically, he also gave me information to some people we can contact as well to gain more information. But for now, I'm gonna send him a map of the streets that we want adjusting.
Okay. Can you document that information that you got from him and
Yeah.
send that to the board,
Yeah,
please?
definitely.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions on the general manager's report? Okay. The next is the facilities manager's report, which is Fernando, and he's unable to be here today. Is there anything you wanted to talk about, Mike?
The AF general evaluation forms are included in this month's maintenance report. So that's from pages 29 through quite a bit of it. 29 through 42. And the board already addressed the timer issue. That was the only other thing that we had outstanding. So thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Unfinished business. Okay, page 43, the rental project update. Okay, first of all, I'm going to read some of this to you because I know you don't have it in front of you, but as of 5/31, 20, it says 23, I think that's 24, 420 homeowners still have not submitted their forms. As per the OCA violations policy, management is to issue courtesy letters to those where no form was submitted. And that form has to be submitted after 15 days of receipt of the first letter. Then a second letter is to be issued. Then after 30 days from issuing of the second letter, the owner is called to a hearing. So at this point, we're waiting. Our director, Lisa, is going to be updating the information that we have here with information that she can provide to us from title searches. And then we are going to be, we're going to be pretty much through July by then. And then we're going to be waiting until the new management comes on board to see where we want to go from there. If we want to take all these folks to compliance. The board is also discussing whether we each, as a board member, call some of them to see if we can't get more of those folks to get those in a timely manner. But in the meantime, I do want to make a motion. Last board member, just before the end of that term, the board made a motion for Sandy Reiser to complete the rental update. And at this time, this board feels it's time to rescind that previous board's motion. So I am making a motion to rescind the previous board's motion for Sandy Reiser to complete the rental update. Do I have a second on that? Second. Okay, who seconded it? Lisa. Okay, Lisa seconded it. Any discussion on that? Okay, Lynn?
I don't know that rescind is the right word. I think at the end of the last board session, Sandy was in the middle of this and she continued it for us because she knew we had enough else going on, and I appreciate that she did that. I think that at this point, between the progress, that work that still needs to be done, and the fact that we're changing from one management company to another, there's so much transition going on that I think that we're asking too much of a prior board member to continue to do that kind of work. I would hope that our new management company would be able to resolve this. And so I would think it more of releasing Sandy from her commitment with our thanks for what she has done so far.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I just want to thank Sandy Reiser, Tracy Richardson, and Marissa McVeigh, First Service Residential, for working on this project, because I know it's very time-consuming, and it's alarming to know that we don't have an accurate account of our rentals, and because our government documents, state that we have to have accurate information about this in our rental units.
And I just want to say thank you for doing the work, because I know it was a lot. And that's all I got to say.
Okay, thank you. I too want to thank Sandy. She's put in months of time on this, and we would have hoped by now homeowners would have responded to something that is a requirement. It's pretty easy to do, but they haven't, and so we're just going to take it from there and, you know, see if there's a new direction we can look at for this. In the meantime, we don't have accurate records for our escrow packages. So it does state in the escrow packages that as of this time, anybody purchasing, there are no new rentals. Okay. We have the Vista Ballot project update from Ellen Marciel next.
Point of information.
Oh, go ahead.
We need to vote.
Thank you. Okay. Any other comments or discussion on the rental project update? Or the motion, I'm sorry, the motion to release Sandy from this project that she's been working on for months. Okay, let's take a vote then. All in favor? Okay, vote passes. And the Vista Ballot project update. Ellen, I know you're here. Do you want me to read it or do you want to? Okay. That's on page 45. That committee has been really working hard. And this is an update on what they've been doing. And if you're not familiar with it, at 503 Vista Bella, there's a very large building that's going to be, right now it's projected to be built 6 stories, 77 units. Okay, the new owners of this 2-story office building have submitted a proposal to the city of Oceanside to demolish the existing building, and they're going to be building this huge 6-story, 77-unit apartment building. Because the project includes 8 low-income housing units, they are entitled to an unlimited number of waivers per California state law. They're requesting 16 waivers, including oversized building height, reduced parking, reduced building setbacks, and oversized retaining walls. In May, the OCA board appointed an ad hoc committee to inform and engage the community regarding this proposed development. The ad hoc committee has had 2 meetings and has arranged for a meeting with our city council member, Eric Joyce. This town hall meeting will be on Tuesday, July 30th at 6 p.m. in this auditorium. Again, that will be Tuesday, July 30th at 6 p.m. in the auditorium. In the absence of a photo simulation from the developers of what this project will look like, the committee is also organizing a meeting on Sunday, June 30th, that's coming up, at 3 p.m. to fly helium balloons 74 feet in the air to show how tall that building will sit on the property. A drone will take video footage to assist in the simulation. Press releases have been issued to the local media regarding both of these events, so we are hoping for media presence to aid in our protest efforts. Please plan to attend both events. If you're interested in learning more information, please contact Ad hoc Committee Chair Ellen Marciel. I think, Ellen, is your email, do you want me to read it out? Okay, it's Ellen, M-A-R-C-I-E-L, Ellen Marciel 39 at gmail.com. That's Ellen Marciel 39 at gmail.com. Thank you for all your committee has done. That's really amazing. So I hope to be there, especially at the balloon, flying of the helium balloons. Okay. The status of the most recent election, ballot count, and board action taken. Okay. In our closed session, it was discussed and a motion was made to close the election for the bylaws measures A and B. It was read to us the corporate code 7511D that elections cannot be carried forward in order to achieve quorum for more than 45 days. And this election has gone beyond that period. So that motion was passed in executive. Okay, under new business, June fireside chat. Lisa, do you want to let us know what happened at that?
Yeah, sure. I was filling in for Teresa, who actually had the fireside chat this month. So anyway, that night was the same night as movie night. So they seemed to have very successful movie night. I had one person in fireside chat. But this person was interesting. I asked him what he wanted to talk about. And he said he really didn't have anything to add. He wanted to know what I wanted to talk about. So I said, okay, the things that are most important to me right now are water, the monstrosity 503 Vista building, legal and common areas, and of course the new management, which is unknown at this point because we haven't experienced them yet. But as far as the water, the main thing there is we know that the whole county is getting a 17% water cost increase, which will be split into, I believe, 7% this year, 10% next year. However, there's more bad news. It will continue up to 40%. So in years 3 and 4, we're going to get another 10% and another 10%. That's what they're telling us right now. That is a huge amount of money, given what Peter raised, which is our second largest budget item, is water at $800,000 a year. That increase is almost half of that. So somewhere in the neighborhood of $300,000 to $400,000. So if we don't get a handle on this water, we will have increasing HOA bills. Not because of anything we've done, but because of the outside factors of increased cost. So we must continue to work hard on reducing our water, which we are doing, working with Total Landscape. But we need to engage the whole community at a point in this, and it should be very soon. And I want to let you know that we will be updating you on things we can all do and participate with the goal of reducing all of our water so as not to have this huge increase in our bill. The legal will have ongoing updates on that, which also ties to the common area. This thing on 503 Vista Bella, that building will change the look and feel of our community. And everyone here should be concerned about it. It's up to all of us to get the word out on what we can do about this as that committee lets us know the steps that we can take as a community to do what we can to either reduce the size of this thing. I don't think we can stop it completely, but we can certainly fight for change in what they're proposing. And with that, that's what we had at Fireside Chat. I hope you guys will consider coming to future Fireside Chats. It's our chance to hear you one-on-one with what your concerns are. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next on the agenda is a motion to clear the slope behind the dog park and the garden up to the top of the hill behind homes 13 through 17. That's on page 46. Lynn, do you want me to read that, or are you going to?
No, I'll speak to that. The hill behind the golf, behind the golf course. We also have slopes by the golf course that get cleared. The hill behind the dog park and the gardens all the way up the hill to behind, between the homes 13 through 17 on unit 14, we are responsible for the weed abatement up there. We need to clear both the top of the hill, the bottom of the hill, and the bottom of the hill includes removing the invasive weeds or the wild artichokes. If we don't do that, one, we have a fire hazard, and second, we will get cited by the fire department for maintaining a fire hazard. We have had that done in the past. We've had it done consistently. It has been done by whoever our contracted landscaper has been at the time, though it is not considered part of the contract. It is a non-contract additional work. We've had bottom done only, and then the top. I think that we should have them both done. Last year when this was done, we did place it in the budget to have it done on an annual basis. Our landscaper has said that yes, they will do it. However, given the complications of the previous bid on the work for the timers, I would like to today approve up to $75,000 for total landscape creation. Oh, that's what I meant, sorry. I'm just giving money away today, aren't I? $7,500, pending a detailed bid. I want anyone that we work with, and as example by this one, to put in detail in writing exactly what they're gonna do and the bid. If it comes in before more than $7,500, it would need to come back to the board for further approval. So can I make a motion to approve that?
Okay, do we have a second on that motion to approve up to 7,500, and we will require the proposal to be in writing with the scope of the work. Is there a second? Did we have discussion? Well, we'll do second and then we'll do the discussion.
Second.
Okay, so Evelyn is making a second, and would you like to start that, Lisa?
Yeah, because I thought that Kurt had someone that knew about native plants to not mow them down in the process, and they were going to do this as a volunteer organization or something?
It seems to be unclear what exactly needs to be removed. Did we have the fire department out and tell us that we needed to remove the steepest part of the weed abatement up behind the homes, or just the lower part of the hill?
When they were out last year, they pointed out everything that needed to be done. We did not do the top last year because they said it could wait a year until this year.
So should we have them out again this year and ask them if the same is true? Because I've been here 6 years and the top's never been cleared.
Oh, the top was cleared May 24th, 2021 by LeBron's.
Okay.
I didn't know that either, but until I found the invoice.
Yeah.
I think we know it needs to get done. I don't know, I think we're just postponing, personally, I think we're postponing the inevitable since we've budgeted to do it. Though we could have them come out and they could write the scope of work.
Oh, I see. LeBron's charged us 33 and then 29, so they...
Yeah, there was to do the entire hill, what we're talking about now was $6,294 in 2021.
Okay. And then Brightview was bottom only, and that was approved by the fire department, you're saying?
Yeah.
So I guess my question still remains, is it worth maybe calling the fire department out to confirm our understanding? Or have we done that?
I personally haven't done that. If you want to suggest that.
Yeah, I would suggest that.
Can we amend the motion rather than table it, or do you want to table this?
My understanding is the bottom portion, if we own the property and it's currently zoned for residential, that we can maintain that on our own through other means. I do understand the 100 feet away from the homes up above.
We don't own it, we lease it. All of that property falls under the lease, and our bylaws require that any work on that common area be done by someone who carries that insurance.
Do we own the dog park property?
We lease it. It is part of the lease property.
Okay.
The property that we own starts at if you're looking at the dog park straight on, it starts at the corner where the nice landscape along that sidewalk is and goes down towards Stagecoach.
Okay, toward the 76.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's all. Otherwise, we would. Now, if we ever have to do the other side of the way, we could do someone else.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion on this?
Maybe I just missed it. It was already said. Do we have a deadline to complete this? And also, if we don't maintain it, we'll be fined by the city. And one of the reasons is to prevent fire hazard?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm feeling that we're rushing this again, and that we should table this, and as Kurt suggested, ask the fire department to come out. Mike, you could probably get in touch with them, or Fernando, and get a clear scope of what needs to be done. And it will also give us time then to have Bob put together a proposal for us. I think the rush is because there is concern. There's fires in Camp Pendleton and around us, so there is that concern. I don't know if there's a concern immediately for being fined, but I think the fact that we're being proactive and calling the fire department to ask for the scope of what they would want done would, mitigate any fine. So anyway, I'm asking for this to be tabled until next month. Any second on that, or do we want to go back to the original motion?
Second on the new one.
Okay, so I have a second on tabling it. And any more discussion?
I would, if we're going to table it, I'd like to be real specific about what's going to be done so that we don't have something tabled and then it just goes on forever. What's going to happen? We're going to table it until next month, and next month, who is going to bring what information forward for us to consider so that we can take the next step? Just clarity, because, lack of details.
Okay, well, I think this is clearly a management, situation. Management needs to have the fire department come out and give us the scope of what they require and want us to have done, and also a bid from Total Landscape with a scope written out, what they'll be doing for that amount after we've heard from the fire department. Can that be ready for next meeting? Okay. All right, any other discussion? Okay, then let's take a vote on this, tabling it to the July meeting. All those in favor? 4 in favor? Oh, you voted for that? Okay, fine. And that passes. All right, we move into delinquencies. In executive session, the board approved preparation for foreclosure, an intent to lien, and an intent to foreclose. Going into committee updates. Okay, first of all, there are some new volunteers and some resignations. I'd kind of like to start with those. So we have in the architecture committee, we have Stephen Erb, I'm saying that right, Erby, and Phyllis Allenson in the unit advisors. As new volunteers, the paperwork is in order, and we have some resignations in CRC. Michael Jones is going to have to step down, as well as Karen Leventhal from the Hub. So I'd like to make a motion to approve these new volunteers and accept these resignations. Is there a second? Kurt will second that. Is there any discussion on that? Okay, then I call for the vote. All those in favor? That's passed with a unanimous 5. And secondly, then I'm making a motion to approve the minutes of the committees as submitted. Are there any questions? Well, let's get a second on that first. Any second on that? Second. Okay, Lisa, second. Any comments or discussion on the minutes that you had a chance to look through? Okay. All right, then let's call. Did you have something, Kurt? Okay, then let's call for the vote on that. All those in favor of approving these minutes of the committees, raise your hand. Okay, and that's a unanimous 5. Okay. At this time, our treasurer had something she wanted to address, right?
Well, I wanted to circle back around to the beginning and address our board packets and distributions, because I have followed along throughout this meeting, and there's absolutely nothing in this month's packet that could not have been in the hands of a homeowner. And frankly, I felt a little bit like I was reading to the audience, which I don't need to do. I feel like that the people who are here, the homeowners, are much more educated and involved in what we're doing if they have the documents in front of them to look at ahead of time and to move through. I can understand that there may be at times things that shouldn't be distributed, and we could certainly leave those out. But Ellen makes a really good point. If it's so confidential that it can't be in the packet, it probably shouldn't be in this meeting. I also understand Davis Sterling, and I would like to suggest that we send this month's packet as an example to our attorney and say, is there a legal reason that we can or cannot distribute this? Our homeowners would like to have this. This is what's general in here, and ask for some specific guidance, and that way we can all be on the same page because of the guidance that he asked for, or he gave us, rather than different interpretations of Davis Sterling. And I say that because we have read it one way and homeowners have spoke to it another way, and I think that would be really good opportunity to bring that. So let's see what Brad tells us we can and can't do, and then put that on as a discussion topic for next month.
Do you need a motion on that to send that off, or just? No? Okay, well, I'll go ahead and send that off to Brad then, and then we'll discuss it again at the next meeting.
Tell Brad we'd like a real quick review. Not a customer.
Right now, we are open to questions from attendees. If you'd like to raise your hand and speak again. Oh, a few people here. Okay, why don't you start, Anita? State your name and your unit and house number.
Anita Romaine, Unit 14, House 14. It's just not Unit 14, 13 to 17 that this fire hazard is. It's 1 through 17 is on that canyon, plus Unit 4. To table this, U5, I'm sorry, is to pass the buck. If we weren't taken care of last year, within the 100 feet of the houses, but you did the green or the yellow grass, that's not taking care of over 20 units. That's not counting if it goes any further. Depends on the wind. To make that tabled at this point, you have another month of dry, windy weather. And it's not being watered. Those slopes are not being watered. So I really would like to have Mike get a hold of those fire departments, make their report, and get this done before the next meeting. Doesn't have to be voted on. I know there's a budget. You could have voted on the maximum of $7,500 in lieu of the report. Doesn't have to be waiting until the last meeting in July. So, speaking for all of Unit 14, all of Unit 4, and those up the hill, I really would like you to do that closely, immediately as soon as the fire department. I don't even know if you needed the fire department. You've got the report from them last year. Nothing changes except it gets worse. The scrub brush is dry. We have probably 20 palm trees growing right now. You want 7 or 20 more? We have 7 right now that we're not planting, but they're there. And they have to be cut every 2 years, every year. Because what's coming off of that is dry, dead stuff that's down there in that canyon. So please rethink that. Thank you.
Okay, next.
Can we discuss that?
Can we discuss I would like to just point out that the president has authorization authority up to $10,000 without it coming before the board. We were asking for $7,500 here if we pass the motion. I'd like to suggest that whatever reports need to be gotten and the full printout of exactly what the scope of work is going to be come in, and if it appears that it really should have, it was information we needed to say yes, that she go ahead and authorize it and get the work done instead of coming back to us.
I agree that if the fire department signs off and says that it needs to be done, that we release the funds at that point. My question is, who's going to be responsible for overseeing the scope of work and that it's done correctly? And that should be this board's responsibility. So Lynn, would you like to join me in that? The scope of work and the approval?
You be the lead and then I'll help.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Mike, so this is just something we need to get to quickly. So if we have it in days, then we'll get the money approved in days and we'll begin the project. Correct, thank you.
Okay, so Kurt's going to
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, Kurt's going to lead this. Well, I see that Evelyn has something she wants to say.
Will you please repeat the motion? Is there a motion?
I don't think there was an emotion.
It wasn't a motion, it was just discussion that we're gonna go ahead and get the information, and the information needs to come to me and Kurt to put together for Roxanne to read.
Yeah, and we need an accurate bid and scope from TLC, from Bob. And if there's anybody else, you know, you mentioned somebody who would do it for free. I don't know what that scope of that would. We just need to have everything in order before we go forward. And if you'd be so willing to take that on, Kurt, I would love that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. The scope of the invasive plants and the replanting, that option is not on the table if it's not our property. So if it's the leased property, we can't do it. That was my understanding, and that was my mistake, was that we owned a property up to those homes, but that's the other guys.
That's all part of Unit 14.
Okay, very good.
Okay, so Kurt's going to get on this, and we've got Lynn helping him with management, and we're going to get this done in the next week or so, right? So we can get this going? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Anita, for bringing it up.
Thank you for
Okay.
helping.
And I know there were a lot of hands up, so who else would like to speak? I'm going to go over this side here, and Sandy, go ahead. State your name and unit and house, please.
Phone number, social security.
Okay.
Next vacation
You have that, I
dates.
think.
Sandy Reiser, Unit 3, House 41. I have quite a few, but they're different subjects, but I want to talk about what you just talked about. When we did the contract with Total Landscape, sorry, what's their name?
Total Landscape Creations.
Thank you, Total Landscape Creations. All slopes were to be included, not extra cost. There's email strings to that, so if you need me to give you that, I can give you that. I have to look for it. But I think actually, Roxanne, you might have, I know, that was like 80,000 lifetimes ago, but you may have actually that. But every slope was to be included in the landscaping that's paid for every month.
I believe I remember seeing that in the Oceana meeting movie, and I think that that's where it is. So if we could look in the minutes, we can go see what was actually said about that.
Correct, because this was the clarification we got to get this contract, so we no longer had these kind of things.
A surprise.
Correct.
If you would send that, I recall it for along the golf course, but I don't recall the hill.
Yep,
So
all
that would be helpful to have.
Yeah, no, we did this on purpose because these kind of costs kept coming up. So I can help you if you need me to, but it should be in the minutes, but let me know if you need it. Okay, so my next question is, this is just a clarification. So on the timing, you guys allocated money, but you didn't say where the money was going to come forward to pay for that out of the budget. So you made a budget change to do that for the motions, a substantial 17,000, I think it was, but you didn't say where it was coming from. And so I think that was a habit that the board was trying to do previously. So I don't know if you're doing that still, but that really helps so that Lynn doesn't pull her hair out at the end of the year.
Oh, we had already identified there, within reserves, you're talking about the 17,000?
Correct.
We had already put, we already have one project that has come in about $50,000 under what it was budgeted for, so it would come from there.
Okay, so if you put that as part of your motions, that's helpful for people in the future so that they know those things. And my next question is, sorry, it went dark. So why did you make the motion to end the election in executive session?
Anybody have any thoughts on that? It was in the executive packet. Somebody, Lisa, did you request that in the executive packet? Do you want to address that?
I think Lynn can address that.
I can address it. Putting the packets together has not been something that First Service has successfully done for us. And this past month, I, who have never done a packet before, volunteered to help for one day and ended up putting 4 days into putting packets together. I wasn't sure where it went. I think it sort of ended up in 2. So if it got in the wrong place, then that was my error. So that's why it was there.
Right, but the vote should not occur in executive. The vote should occur in general. So that you have to make sure that.
I think.
You did vote on it today. You just said that you voted on it.
Gotcha, so we should have voted again. We should have voted,
Correct.
discussed it and voted. Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Yep. There's no ESC minutes for architecture and landscape in the packet.
We said last month that those were going into executive because sometimes there was confidential information in them.
Okay, so that should be, I don't remember hearing that, so I've been at all the board meetings.
I didn't either. I put them in here and they took them out.
The facilities committee, I think, had a name change, yes? But the minutes still say facilities committee, that's a nit, but, okay, so here's.
Lynn, do you want to address that as liaison of that, the name change for facilities? No, I know, I think, well,
It still says facilities all over.
yes,
the
they're still working on it. A couple of names were thrown out
Oh,
there.
okay.
It is done? Okay, do you want to?
Okay, that was just a note. Okay, so here's the deal on the packet. On January 26, 2023, the general board meeting procedures were approved by the board, and it read exactly this. Board members receive the PDF and/or hard copies at least 4 days before a meeting. Members may request identical PDF of board packets 2 days before a meeting. Limited printed copies are available 1/2 hour prior to the meeting. That is in approved procedures. So if you've got legal counsel that's contrary to that, then you should explain that, I think, to the homeowners, because that is the expectation for the homeowners, and it is approved, motion approved procedures by the board January 26, 2023. I'm done now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy.
Yep.
Thank you, Sandy.
That's honest. Okay, I'm going to get to you, but I want to give some other people a chance. And Donna, you have your name up or your hand up? Please give Evelyn your name and unit number of house.
You don't want to know where you were just.
I'm Donna Witt, Unit 7, House 9, and I want to address the clearing of the hillside. That should be a matter of urgency. As of now, listening to you, we probably won't get that done till late July. And we're already in the fire season. There's already been a fire in La Jolla. So we should do this as soon as we can.
Thank you, Donna. Anybody else? Okay, Charlie?
Charlie went Unit 7, number 9, really quickly. You did delinquent, I didn't hear a motion on the delinquency actions. I know you make a motion during your executive session, but those have to be approved at a home, one of these meetings.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead. Please state your name and house number and unit.
Pam Spangler, Unit 8, number 26. Regarding the rental homeownership issue, I heard you mention something, I think you, Lisa, were going to go through the title search. And what is the purpose of that?
Okay, so title companies, as soon as a transaction records, the recorder updates all the title companies as to the change in ownership.
Yes.
The title companies then update all their records so that from that moment forward, the title reports are correct, that they're delivering to the public. So the reason for using the title report is that it's up to the minute. It also shows any owners who are receiving their information at an address other than the one that they own. That generally means it's either a second home or an investment property. That substantially reduces the number of homes that we need to look at to find out if they're owner-occupied, rentals, or second homes, so that we can reduce and get down to the amount of people that we need to know what is their situation. Are they an investment? Are they a second home? So if we can reduce this from 400 and however many down to 100 or 200, then the board can take those certain properties, reach out to those homeowners to get the resolution of what are they.
So we do not have a list of the homeowners in Oceana, within our...
No, we know who the homeowners are within Oceana. We don't know the purpose of their ownership. And so if we... Right, it doesn't, we normally ask them to fill out a form that tells us this.
Right, we were all asked to do that
Correct.
several months ago, and it never, you're saying 400, some people didn't do it.
Didn't
So
do
just
it.
a little less than 50% of the
Correct.
ownership here. But who is, in other words, why, if you already know who owns it, I'm not saying whether
Right.
they live in it or rent
Right.
it, we know who owns it, why do you still have to do a title search?
Because we need to know whether it's owner-occupied, investment, or second home. And the reason for that we need to know what percentage is for lenders.
I understand that.
Okay?
However, so what you're saying is we really don't have any idea.
We did last year. We're trying to update last year so that we can have an accurate amount, because we were declining in the number of rentals, which was the goal, to get down to a number that would be helpful to people getting mortgages from lenders, because we're at a lower amount, and then some people that want to be able to rent their homes that were put on pause would now be able to.
How far over the...
We don't know. That's the problem.
Year, no, you said you have...
Oh, last year, I don't know.
Let me
I
just
wasn't
finish
on the
what I'm
board
saying.
last year.
Last year, how many above the 233 units were rentals?
I don't know. I wasn't on the board last year.
Well, you have the information, I'm assuming.
Sandy knows.
Sandy
Seven. But that was just based.
How many?
Seven.
About 7, she said.
About 7
That
over.
we knew about.
That we knew.
Knowing about.
Right.
The purpose of the forms is to say what for every single home, what we now know. The whole point is to get the form to now know. That's the point.
So why do we have so, when they didn't comply the first time?
Yes.
Then we, extend the date and we keep,
No, we send it. We have a legal process or a compliance
So have they all
process.
been sent out?
Everyone was sent out. Then we know how many didn't respond in that time frame.
And have you
now goes
contacted them?
another letter that says you didn't comply.
I understand the process. Have you done that? Have those letters gone out?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and they have 15 days to respond?
Yes.
Yes.
And when is that time period up right now?
Soon. And that's why we want to be able to look at this title report, shrink down the numbers so we can physically and by phone reach out to the homeowners who are probably not on site because they're not receiving their information on site.
So between the management service and the board, do we not have enough manpower to have contacted these people and said that you have?
Well, we're going to contact them. That's
exactly
the
what we
goal,
talked
is
about.
to reduce the number. We don't want to sit here and 5 of us call 400 people, okay?
Well, we also have a property management
Yes, but
company.
they're in transition right now, so now...
No, at some point in time, we can't keep using that
I
as
agree.
an excuse.
I agree, it's not an excuse. We're doing what we need to do to come to the number.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, I'm sorry. State your name again. Steve, thank you, sorry.
Guess I should hang around more. My first question is simply a quick yes or no. Some weeks ago, you had a open strategy meeting. Are there minutes or a summary of that meeting available for people who were not here?
Yes, we have a summary of all the results that we got from the participants in that meeting. That will be coming out with the results to the homeowners. It was not appropriate for today's meeting because it goes into a lot of information.
Well, no, I'm asking a separate question. So it was a meeting.
At point of
It was a
information.
town hall.
Point of, it was actually a town hall where we actually did a strategic planning workshop. And so we didn't, so it wasn't a meeting, so we didn't take minutes. However, we did collect information from the membership to help with the strategic plan. And what Lisa is talking about, once we can finalize the strategic plan, we'll make that available to the membership.
Okay.
So it wasn't a meeting, it was a town hall.
So I'm going to go back to my earlier comment, which is a lot of us travel, right? And this whole idea that you know, there's some secrecy requirement where if you're not there, you don't hear it. I don't know what you're waving your hands in the air for. Are you not smart?
Excuse me?
Point of information, point of information.
No, wait a minute.
Point of information.
Yes.
I understand that everyone has their opinion and they have a right to speak their opinion. And when we do that, I just ask that everyone, that includes the board members, the membership and the audience, that we be disrespectful of each other.
Okay, so tell her to stop rolling her eyes at me and making faces when I'm talking, right? Thank you.
That applies to everybody.
Yes, exactly. So have a little bit of decorum. Okay, so fine. So the answer is no, that there's no summary or minutes from that meeting. That's okay. And I didn't understand that this part of the session was as interactive as it appears to be.
Excuse me, Mr. McGillen, if I pronounce your name correct, we actually created a PowerPoint that we can actually email to you, that it gives you general information of what was discussed during the town hall.
Okay, and again, my comment was not personal. It's just that I'm sure there are a lot of people who are not here. And in the interest of transparency, you know, just having a way to communicate with people. And I was even going to suggest, if there were concerns about security, because I deal with a lot of secured information, that it's possible to do that via PDF with passwords. So you can have protected information that you can send out.
Point of information, what we can do as the board, we can actually submit through the hub to place the PowerPoint from the town hall on the website. That way anyone who wants to can access it.
Hello, I'm
Yes.
sorry to interject. That PowerPoint was submitted about a month ago, and the website will not hold that because there's too much information on there. We don't have enough room.
Yes.
Thank you for letting us know that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so going back to my comment, so great point. So PowerPoints take up a lot of physical space, but if you convert it to a PDF, not only will it reduce the size to make it manageable, but also you can password protect, you can put security on your PDF, so that it's not just out on the website for unrelated parties. And my other questions, I just wanted to clarify what I was saying about the financials there, because you were talking about strategy. In the announcement for the meeting, it talked about litigation, and I'm not going to go through the whole long thing, but a lot of money has been spent to date on litigation, and is my understanding, in the absence of other information, that right now the board is kind of on an all or nothing trajectory, which is if the litigation is successful, good things happen, but there's no mention of what if it doesn't work out from a financial perspective. And from my, you know, from what I've read, you know, there are some substantial financial impacts that are possible, and those are usually handled either in notes to the financial statements for other significant information, or if it rises to it, a number is put on there. So I was just asking, is anybody going to do that? And if you do have an audit in progress, because I'm a licensed CPA and a peer of the firm, I can go straight to the firm if that's what you want, and ask my questions, because I'm their peer. And the last thing I would say is I mentioned potentially misleading information that I thought was unintentional, right? And an example of that was the Hilltop Highlights mentioned the golf course, and it said that the HOA was a stockholder in the golf course. Now, it is my understanding, and from previous communications, that the golf course is 100% owned by Oceana HOA. So if that has changed, if there's been a change in ownership, that could potentially signal that there was a distribution of resources. which again, should have been disclosed.
Oceana Golf, the golf course, Oceana owns 100% of the issued stock.
Okay, so Lynn, all I'm saying is that when
And that hasn't changed.
Yes, when you're communicating, I understand what you're saying. When you're communicating with the general public, right, little things sometimes can lead to big confusion. So all I was saying is let's clean it up and make, lower people's anxieties.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Lynn, did you have something you wanted to say to Steve, or you seemed like you wanted to talk about something?
I did want to point out, you had mentioned earlier about where the books for last year closed.
Yeah.
The books for last year have not been able to be closed. That's one of our issues. There were errors made in 2023. We brought them to the management company's attention. They disagreed and said that those would have to be corrections noted during the course of the audit. We're waiting for that to return, and our attorney is aware that we're pending that in order to, they will say, here's the journal entries, then those will be made, and then it will be closed.
Okay, but Lynn, that's why I asked about the engagement letter, because also in the documentation we're given.
It's in the engagement letter.
Okay, let me finish. So in the information that we're given as homeowners, you mentioned an audit, right? So audits are by independent accounting firms, right? So wait a minute. So the auditor cannot engage in management activities like posting journal entries.
He's not going to. I just told you he will call it out as an error that needs correcting. He will provide the journal entries that we need to make in order to correct that, and it will be shown in the notations at the audit.
Okay, so the plan is to respond to deficiencies identified in the audit field work.
That is correct.
Okay, so then is there an agreement with the auditor? So you're not going to be able, the auditor is not going to be able to issue an unqualified opinion on these statements? Because it's going to be a consistency violation if you're because the audit language.
I can't answer that at this time.
And by the way, this affects people's ability to sell their homes. So if you don't understand this, I apologize.
Okay.
But this is significant.
Point of order. We appreciate you speaking, but we want to move on now. Was there anybody else?
Yeah,
Gail? Thank you.
I'll be very quick.
I just want to know, based upon what I spoke about earlier, what is the likelihood that we could get some security here? We are in an open community. We're not gated. There's stuff happening here. The pool furniture is gone. Somebody took it. 2 months ago, there was a table and a chair in the pool. The wind did not take the table and chair, the pool. Somebody threw it in there. We need security. I'm not talking about massive security everywhere you look. But there needs to be something at the pool. There needs to be a sign by the spa. There was a 2-year-old that went into the spa on Sunday. I'm not the pool police. I'm not going to tell that family no. That's not my responsibility. But if we had cameras, and we had somebody monitoring this, maybe things would change a little bit.
Thank you. My understanding is we have surveillance. I'm not sure why it's not being utilized. Can you fill us in on that at all? No. Okay. All right. Well, then I will check into it, okay? I will find out about why it's not being used. And we also have all these things happening with our sprinkler system. So we do need to address this quickly.
Please.
Mike?
I believe there was a privacy issue, and that's why it was deactivated.
There was a what issue?
Privacy issue.
Privacy.
Yes.
Okay.
I suggest that
We're going to move on right now. Thank you for all those who had questions, things to talk about. I'm going back here to those delinquency actions, as Charlie pointed out. We need to make a motion to approve these 3 actions for
foreclosure lien and intent to foreclose. So I'm making a motion to approve that. It's X, delinquency actions. Motion to approve, second. Lisa, second. Okay, any discussion on that? Okay, then I call for the vote. All those in favor of moving forward on those actions, raise your hand. Okay, that's unanimous. Okay, thank you. The last thing on the agenda is the round table topics. Do any of the board members have something they want to talk about in the round table topics? No, okay. All right. Then with that in mind, I do make a motion to adjourn. It is 11:10. Do you have a second? Second. Lisa seconds it, and all those in favor? Okay, we adjourn.